Whoever at some point in their life didn't dream of robbing a bank? I suppose that we all once had that utopian idea of robbing a bank, which is why in this video we're going to bring you a top of those movies in which the idea of robbing a bank becomes a reality, and the characters sought the perfect plan to get away with all the money. Guards on the floor, masks, disabling alarms, and desperately escaping from the place are some of the actions we will see in this video. Number 10. Heat. The ex-convict Neil McKaylee, Robert De Niro, is a cunning criminal who leads a professional gang of thieves and bank robbers. He and his gang operates in Los Angeles and carry out million-dollar heists, primarily targeting banks, vaults, and armored vehicles. However, this time, he plans a million-dollar heist to retire from the criminal life. After a mistake in their last heist, Neil and his gang are detected by Lieutenant Vincent Hanna, Al Pacino, from the Robbery Homicide Division of the Los Angeles Police Department. Hanna is an experienced and dedicated cop who has dismantled dangerous organized crime gangs in cities like New York and Chicago. Hanna stands in the way of Neil and his final heist. Number 9. Quick Change. Grim, played by Bill Murray, is a New York urban planner who is fed up with the chaos and prevailing corruption and decides to leave the city. He devises a plan to escape by plane after robbing a bank while disguised as a clown. Grim will be responsible for entering and seizing the loot. So far, everything seems very easy. The problem arises when he has to reach the airport amidst a horrendous traffic. Number 8. The Italian Job. Michael Caine and Noel Coward taught us that in cases where tasked with stealing $4 million in gold bars, it's best to use a lot of Mini Coopers to create absolute chaos on the streets of Turin. One of the most amusing criminal comedies of all time. But it's also a testament to Caine's charisma during his imperial phase. He was the face of British cinema back then. Number 7. The Heist of the Century. When we talk about the perfect heist, we can't leave behind the heist of the century. The robbery of the Akasusu branch of Bank Rio was more than a crime. It was a work of art designed to become a movie. Not only did they make off with the loot ranging from $8 to $25 million without firing a single shot, but on January 13, 2006, Mario's gang began to write the script with their actions, which has now become the heist of the century. This entertaining crime comedy with a light-hearted tone while respecting the facts is directed by Ariel Wingorad. It tells the story of how the heist of the century was planned and executed, as well as what happened afterwards. It narrates that brilliant robbery with the agility of Hollywood-style crime genre cinema. If you enjoyed the movie rankings, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell to see more videos like this. Number 6. The Town. The story takes place in Boston, in the traditional neighborhood of Charlestown, home to one of the highest rates of bank and armed car robberies worldwide. Over the years, this has given rise to all kinds of myths and legends. Doug, Ben Affleck, and 3 of his childhood friends form a gang of bank and armed car robberies who are highly pursued by the FBI. However, Doug wants to find another path in life when he falls in love with Claire, Rebecca Hall, who had been kidnapped a few days earlier during a bank robbery where she works. Efforts to break free from this world seem to yield to the pressure from his childhood friends and the authorities alike. In this movie, Ben Affleck presents the social dilemma of living in a neighborhood where crime is part of daily life, where relatives, cousins, friends, and neighbors are involved in all sorts of crime. That's why the thriller is imbued with the drama of a man who has spontaneously learned the trade. In terms of direction, Ben Affleck's talent is unquestionable. The atmospheric tones he creates are the result of his insightful understanding of the genre and his knack for bringing to the screen stories rich in nuance. Number 5. Dog Day Afternoon. Brooklyn, in the summer of '72. 3 young men enter the Brooklyn Bank with the intention of pulling off a robbery that shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. They've planned every detail, but their plan will be turned upside down by an unbelievable series of mishaps. 4 hours later, the whole world would have heard about the robbery on TV. The police, the FBI, and hundreds of people gather outside the bank. As the saying goes, A plan is a sequence of events that never goes as planned. Number 4. Reservoir Dogs. This is Tarantino's directorial depth in the world of cinema, and he brings us a 90s cinematic gem. 6 criminals and perfect strangers are hired by mafia boss Joe Cabot to steal some diamonds. Before they start, each one is given a code. Mr. White is Harvey, Mr. Orange is Tim, Mr. Blondie is Michael, Mr. Pink is Steve, and Mr. Blue is Edward, Mr. Brown is Quentin Tarantino, with the intentions of not knowing too much about each other and just getting the job done. Suddenly something goes wrong in the middle of the heist. Some of them die. When they reach the meeting point, Mr. Pink is absolutely certain that somebody in the group betrayed them. As they try to figure out what to do, we gradually uncover the backstories of several of them and how they became involved in the job. Number 3. Hell or High Water. The film is set in a backdrop of dilapidated houses and signs inviting people to take out bank loans, all under overwhelming heat and expression of disappointment. The production resembles an old Western film, set in the present with a backdrop of another America, the forgotten, violent, and racist one. The story exposes the emotional wounds of a pair of brothers who engage in a small-scale bank robbery. One does it for the adrenaline, and the other to secure his son's future. The intention is to capitalize on the attention and violence of the crime genre. Ben Foster and Chris Pine plays the criminals in a chemistry alongside Jeff Bridges, an experienced sheriff near retirement who decide to undertake a mission. They've all lost something, and in their personal dynamic they encounter characters who also express their frustrations. A waitress with depth, an elderly man who doesn't hesitate to use his lifelong weapon in danger, and Bridges, giving a masterful performance as an old hound pursuing his two prey. Number 2. Inside Man. In this Spike Lee film, we will see action and entertainment, possibly another in a series of bank heist movies with hostages, smart detectives, negotiators, and even smarter thieves. The police, led by detectives suspected of shady dealing, Denzel Washington, negotiate with the gang leader, Clive Owen. Although masked for much of the film, delivers another great performance. The bank owner hires a brilliant lawyer, Judy Foster, who also negotiates with the thieves, bypassing the police. Nothing is what it seems. We know it when the thieves observe the mountain of bills piled up in the treasury without moving a hair and instead admire the deposit of stationery in the desk of the bank on Wall Street. An elegant and favorite branch of its powerful owner, Christopher Plummer. We sense something strange when the 4 robbers dress as hostages, wearing the same clothes and hoods as they do, leading to conclusion among the characters. Disorder and doubt persist even when this action is disrupted by the inclusion of interviews with the hostage after they are freed. The screenplay is very clever in blurring the murky line between the guilty and the innocent, victim and perpetrators. Number 1. Point Break. Point Break is a great film directed by Bigelow and starring Keanu Reeves. Released in 1991, it was originally very successful, but later became a true cult classic. One of those typical action films of the 90s. Johnny Depp, Val Kilmer, and Charlie Sheen were some of the actors initially considered for the leading role of Johnny Utah, but Keanu Reeves ultimately landed the role. Johnny Utah is a young FBI agent who infiltrates the world of surfing to unmask a gang of bank robbers who use USA presidents' masks as their signatures during heists. However, Johnny soon becomes infatuated with the beautiful Tyler, Lori Petty, and also meets Booty, the gang's leader, a man who lives life to the extreme. Action, beaches, and big waves end up having a major influence on the young cop. Reeves had to learn how to surf for his role and fell in love with the sport, becoming one of the greatest work of the 90s. What other bank robbery movies do you recommend? Let us know down in the comments. Here, we leave you with more videos like this.